juggling bloke here today, juggling said umbrella and camera. How many of you have really come to know the true essence of what you are? How many of you know how to find that? So how you find it is by being in the deepest of meditations, so deep, so profound, where you have no notion of the thing that is experiencing a human being. You have no notion of self, of body, of mind. You have no thoughts. There are no thoughts. There are no thoughts of me feeling in a certain way, thinking a certain thing. There is nothing like that there. That's the deepest realm of meditation. When you go into the abyss of pure isness, pure awareness. And I speak about this in the greatest of depths in my book, for those of you who are interested. You see, my book is a very personal experience, but it's also so very, very broad, because what it's done is, this experience that you're looking at here has 60 years of experience, thousands and thousands and thousands of hours of listening to very experienced and intelligent people and reading their works. And so I've compiled those together, and I'm speaking from that level and depth. And if you really want to know what this cosmos truly is, then there's so many facets of knowledge that you have to engage yourself within. And if you do not engage yourself with meditation, then you will never know. If you do not engage yourself with the deepest levels of philosophy, you will never know. If you do not engage yourselves with the deepest levels of spirituality, you will never know. You need all of those compiled together to show you what you are. You are pure isness. Pure awareness of awareness. That is it. And out of that comes the notion of self and all things pertaining to life and what it is to be a human being. You have to have some sort of level of insight into quantum mechanics. There's so many fields of studies that you need to travel through and within before you reserve and deserve the right to form an opinion. You do not deserve the right because you haven't travelled the journey unless you've travelled all of those journeys. And so this is why Jesus is reputed to have travelled extensively for many, many years, for 18 years, from the age of 12 until the age of 30, around the East and Middle East, visiting many countries, including India and Egypt and other Asian countries and Central Asian countries and European countries, visiting all these places and learning about the greatest knowledge which was discerned during those times. I suppose in the golden era of discernment, much of which has been forgotten since then. And so the likes of Plato would dabble in these sort of things. And there is a deep and richness of the human experience that the vast majority of people will never go to. And so you will always be doubting Thomases because you haven't had the experience. You see, Thomas Didymus, he did the right thing. He doubted the resurrection of the Christ because he hadn't experienced it for himself. And we should all do that. we should doubt everything that we haven't experienced for ourselves. And so, in my estimation, where it says that Jesus states that he who believes without sin, he is the most valuable, or something of that nature. I forget the exact quote, doubtless some of you know it. But he who believes without sin, well, he who believes without feeling or without intuiting, well, if you're just going to believe, then that's just fantasy. So are you asking everyone to fantasize? No, that's not correct. And that line there, I'm not in agreement with, and I don't think it's correct. And I don't think it is originally what Jesus said. Because we have to experience. And just believing doesn't give us that experience. And when Jesus says the kingdom of God is within you all, well, it is down to you then to find it. Not just to accept that that's in there, and okay, then great, the kingdom of God is within me. Well, what does that mean? We have to know what that means, don't we? And, you know, Eastern philosophy and secret societies and esoteric stuff will tell you how to get there and to know it. And all this stuff has been hidden from the masses because it was never meant for them. And in recent times, again, I'm listening to someone, a scholar of the Dead Sea Scrolls, who said that in the Dead Sea Scrolls it is plain that Jesus had two levels of teaching. He had one level of esoteric for the select few who he wanted to know, who he valued and knew that they would appreciate it. Then he had the exoteric, which was for the man in the street, where he would stand on the mount and address the people, speaking in parables and very elementary stuff like that. It is said that it was never intended that Jesus would tell the masses the true essence of his knowledge, because they would never glean it, of course. So he had to speak to them in very, very mundane and basic parables and illustrations. Whereas other people who had been to the similar schools, who had been introduced to the secret knowledge, then they could grok it, you see. And so what I'm saying, people, is that the Bible is that exoteric stuff. No one will ever know the kingdom of God by reading that. You have to get into the esoteric. You have to get very, very, very deeply into mysticism, because the Bible is speaking in the physical world about physical things and things like parting the sea and walking on water and all that sort of stuff. Come on, people. It's all parables, all illustration, and it's just not supposed to be discerned on that level. But if any of you are versed in these things, then you may know yourself the true essence of you. You see, we have to discern what the self means. We have to discern what soul means. We have to discern what ego means. We have to discern so many things if we are really going to know, have some sort of an idea of knowledge. And then people may be retorting now, well, yeah, but Aaron, you say that everything isn't true, nothing real. Everything isn't true because there is no truth, people. Because the cosmos is the paradox. So someone was contesting what I was saying about non-truth and non-reality and all this sort of thing. And I just pointed him to a few videos on the paradox of life. If you delve into what the paradox is, then you'll see that very intelligent people throughout millennia have concluded that there is no truth. There can't be any truth because the cosmos is the paradox, people. And that's where I'm speaking from. I'm speaking from the paradoxical nature of knowing that there isn't any truth, because every time I've looked for it, I've always ended up back in the abyss. Could never ever find any definitive truth. It's not possible to define it even in logic. So look into Gödel's theorem, look into Gödel's logic, and look into Bertrand Russell's logic. Look into anybody that's been logicians and they've engaged themselves in the paradox. And then maybe if you have the wherewithal to be able to get your heads around that, you'll know where I'm coming from. But of course, people don't realise the depth where I'm coming from. So that's why they'll always contest what I'm saying, because they haven't travelled the same path. They come upon a few of my videos, I'm saying a few things, and all of a sudden their ego reacts. Oh, that's what I know, that's not what my ego knows, or my ego this, my ego that. And you think your ego is the be-all and the end-all. You think your ego is God itself by the way you speak. The ego is a born liar from the beginning to the end. There is absolutely no truth at all remotely in the ego. It is just the false prophet, the operating system for the fiction of the human being. It is a fiction, people. It is just a dream. No truth, no reality. There is something going on, for sure. The dream is going on. The mind of God is going on. But there is no truth other than that. The mind of God, or awareness of awareness, and things manifesting out of the awareness in a shape-shifting, magical, fantastical way. Life is a fantastical, magical mystery. Nothing can ever be discerned and pigeonholed, because the cosmos is a shapeshifter. And as soon as you accept that there is no fundamental truth, why should there be? Because you look around the world and you have limited truths, limited notions of truth, whereby you'll think, I'm real, this is solid, that's true. But then all you need to do is just, look into other levels of knowledge. Look into science, look into quantum mechanics, look into mysticism, look into occultism, look into spiritualism, and you start to question, wow, what is real, what is true? And like the Matrix told you, what is real now? What is real? Nothing was real, was it? And so, the question is, what is real? What do we determine to be real? What do any of us consider to be real? If you look at reality, if you look long and hard enough, you will all end up in the abyss. Because that's all there is. There's just the abyss. Because if people think that these leaves over here are green, and you think that's true because everyone knows leaves are green. Well, what is green? It's just a collection of letters. It's a word, it's a concept. If you look for the root of that concept, then it will lead to other words and other concepts, and before you know it, you've gone round in a circle, and you'll discover that, well, you don't really know what green is, to be fair. What is green? It's a projection, a perception of a concept, something that our minds grasp hold of to give ourselves a sense of stability, a sense of realism, a sense of truism. So what we do, we build general consensuses. Oh, these are called leaves. Most of them are green, and then everyone thinks they know something, and that's true. What have you done? You just accepted a few lines and verses of magic. Language is magic, people. That's why it's called spelling. Whenever you spell words, you are casting spells and you're using magic. You see? Just to say one simple thing like that. You can get your head around that a little bit, can't you? Well, open your eyes and your minds and your hearts and pursue that. And then you'll see that truth is just a concept. Reality is a concept. Everything is just a concept. All concepts fall through your hand like dry sand. And if you look long and hard enough, you won't see anything. You won't find anything. you'll find the eternal is, the cosmic giggle. That's all you'll ever find. And that's what I'm speaking about. That's where I'm coming from. This channel, primarily, people, is a philosophy channel. And then it's a psychological channel. Then it's a spiritual channel. It isn't a scientific channel, because science is scientism. Science is Maya. Science is delusion. Look into scientism. Then you might have a different opinion about the world that you think you live in. Huh?